Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody calm down!
Okay, am I the only one that has never felt more left out in their entire life than when Godzilla Minus One came out in theaters for like 2 weeks here in America, and then I had everybody and their mom telling me it's a masterpiece and I have to go see it? Like, not only see it, you gotta see it in IMAX Dolby. You have to see it in IMAX. Oh my fucking God, Jason. Anyway, it left the theaters before I could even see it, and I immediately began surfing the web, trying to make sense of this astronomical fucking hype versus this super short release window, and most importantly, trying to pin down a VOD date or where it could be streamed eventually. I waited and I waited, but then this past Friday, it finally happened.
Oh my God!
Godzilla Minus One, surprise releases on Netflix in America. I rushed to the store for popcorn and blackout curtains and baby bottle pops. I put my phone on airplane mode. I block numbers from family and friends just to be safe, and I hit play. So what made Godzilla Minus One so incredible? A few things, but first, do I even like Godzilla at all? I mean, I'd say I'm a bit indifferent. I've seen all of the American Godzillas since that shitty Roland Emmerich one in 1998, all the way up to Godzilla vs. Kong. Not to be confused with Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire, which is sort of indicative of my whole issue here. The MonsterVerse stuff is just not for me. The human characters all suck ass, but the CGI monster fighting is awesome. But I still think Gareth Edwards' 2014 Godzilla, the one with Aaron Taylor Johnson, is the best American iteration of the character. But there's always been something that really bugs me about the Americans making Godzilla movies. So Godzilla is a metaphor for the atomic devastation America and other countries brought to Japan, right? A gargantuan, mysterious threat that could wipe out entire cities in just a few minutes' time was this premise that understandably would connect with Japanese audiences. So just the nerve of Americans to use that premise for these 4-quadrant blockbusters is just a little bit gross to me. Having Minus One drop the same year as Oppenheimer is a really interesting coincidence, and it makes for a pretty incredible double feature, honestly, but that's a video for someone far more intelligent than I to cover, and I'm sure already has, and I bet it's really good. With all that table setting done with, though, I want to talk about Takashi Yamazaki's Godzilla Minus One and why it is so fucking good. Produced by Toho, the same company responsible for the first Godzilla movie in 1954, Godzilla Minus One takes place in a war-torn Japan just after World War II and follows a kamikaze pilot named Koichi Shikishima struggling with survivor's guilt and PTSD while trying to build the broken pieces of his world back together. Whew, man. First great thing about Minus One. When the characters are just as, if not more interesting than the monster they're fighting. Something you'd assume would be attempted in any blockbuster, but it's so rarely accomplished to such a pitch-perfect degree like it is here. And also, maybe they exist, but I've never experienced a story specifically like this, a deep exploration of this kamikaze pilot who survived the war by what he sees in himself as cowardice. The dark irony of a suicide bomber surviving the war and dealing with survivor's guilt is just so thematically rich. I was captivated immediately by this story, and I wondered if I'd ever seen anything like that before. He witnesses the power of Godzilla very early and takes that baggage back home with him. Everyone he knows is dead except for his neighbor, who shames him for merely still being alive, since his mere life is proof of his failed duty to his country. He watches over this baby suddenly put into his care by what seems to be the mother on the run, but later we learn this mother is simply a young woman who is struggling to survive, who took the baby into her care when their mother was killed in an air raid. The two decide to begin this makeshift life together, caring for the baby, the most earnest and believably found family I've seen in years. It's so earnest and genuine and kind and small and intimate. It was just such a fascinating line of drama in the narrative of this giant Godzilla movie. And Godzilla re-enters the film having grown way larger and far more dangerous than the first encounter that Koichi saw, and our main character must face this terrifying threat head-on if he hopes to conquer the demons war has put inside of him. His war cannot end until Godzilla ends, because Godzilla represents his own shame and guilt. The fact that both of them walk the earth is like this existential threat for our main character specifically, let alone the millions of lives that'll be lost. There are tons of scenes in this movie of our lead expressing the notion that he feels like he's in a dream, that he should be dead, that anything good that happened in his life can't really be his because it wouldn't be fair that he lives on and is happy. The main happiness being truly connecting with Noriko, who is this woman he has taken in and stayed with, and the baby, and building a meaningful, loving life with them. Noriko wants it, the baby needs it, but Koichi barely feels qualified to take care of his own beating heart, let alone these two others. He is a walking corpse as far as he's concerned. It's like Cotard syndrome. Damn. Have you noticed that I've been going on and on here? I haven't even really talked about the selling point of the movie yet. Like, that's why this movie's so good. Now, knowing the characters we are rooting for in this movie are this dense and this complex and layered and nuanced, watch this. And a character we deeply care about dies in this scene. This whole set piece, the centerpiece of the movie, jaw-droppingly gorgeous, terrifying, catastrophic, Michael Bay, Roland Emmerich. This is up there with the best of them. You know, Godzilla is fucking scary in this movie. He's not an anti-hero just so Kong can get equal screen time. He's not misunderstood or a gentle giant. From metaphor to literally, he is unflinching catastrophe in Godzilla -1. He is become death, destroyer of worlds. And Koichi is kind of a coward when we meet him. I don't want to spoil the plot beats specifically of this movie, but I'll just say the arc of our main hero in relation to his kamikaze pilot role is kind of profound and brilliant. And the overarching narrative outside these main characters relating to Japan's historical care for the lives of its soldiers and citizens, from poorly armored tanks to apathetic supply chains, to suicide bombers and kamikaze pilots like our guy is. The way Godzilla -1 focuses so heavily on the concept of what it means to be alive and what life means in wartime, how surviving and living is the priority, and how throwing your life away as if it means nothing just to serve a greater force is a self-inflicted war crime that could take generations to heal and finally move on from for those that did survive. I think this movie's really special. Before I'd even seen it, I was just happy for the team behind it, rooting for them, and ultimately cheering for them when they won Best Visual Effects at the freaking Oscars. I thought about Jaws as well as a lot of other top-tier Spielbergian films while watching Godzilla -1. I was so elated then when my thoughts were finally confirmed by Spielberg himself, praising the shit out of this thing and saying he saw it 3 times. And then I see Takashi Yamazaki calling Spielberg God and giving him this sick-ass Godzilla figurine. It's just heartwarming, full circle stuff, and it's fucking awesome. I wish this stayed in theaters so long, or maybe it comes back and I can finally see it in IMAX, because this is a highly rewatchable movie for so many reasons. I think this is so good. Again, I'm not enough of an aficionado on Godzilla to give a real fan level rating of it where it stands. I like Shin Godzilla a lot. I like 2014 Godzilla a little bit less, but still quite a bit. But this is so far, I mean, this is so clearly the best one that I've seen for all the reasons hopefully I have, dished out here in this video. So I don't know. Let me know what you think, if you vibe with what I am talking about, if you have any ideas. I'm not very historically correct either, or affluent, I should say. I don't have a lot of historical knowledge. This is just, I'm going off what I saw in the movie. So if I'm wrong, let me know why. I always love to be fucking educated. Yeah, hell yeah. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, okay? Bye.